Okay, last thing I'm doing for today on the GP35s and SD45. I've run all the wheels through the ultrasonic, totally degreased. All of the interior, the truck housings are, right now, I've got them soaking in what's called Evaporust, because there is some flash rust in there, and I don't want, there's so many of them, I don't want to sit there and clean it up. So I'm just going to soak them in this Evaporust, and the Evaporust will get rid of all the rust by tomorrow, and they'll be good to go. So my next step, what I have here is a little tester's paint bottle, and I've got liquid graphite in it. What I've got here is mineral spirits, and you can use mineral spirits to thin the graphite. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take all these wheel sets, okay, and I am going to paint the graphite onto the ends of them. And since these they pick up power from these phosphor bronze little nuts here, I don't have to worry about the ends, so I can just paint them. I should be able to do this pretty fast, I hope. Let's get a better set of glasses for this. You don't need super strong ones. You just need regular ones. Alright, now let's go ahead. So I'm just going to take some on this paintbrush. Basically, I just have this set up all the time. When I get to working on this area, I'll move this. I'm just going to paint this on here. Just like that. Both sides. Then I'm going to leave it. Later, when I'm done doing this and these are all dry, should probably be tomorrow. They'll be dry in a couple hours, but this is pretty much it for today. I have a station set up for polishing these wheels. And I'm going to polish, these are the sintered metal, they're like steel wheels. And so a lot of people don't like these, they replace wheel sets. It's not necessary. You can polish these things really nicely, and then, as you know, I always coat them with Oxguard. And when I coat them with Oxguard, they stay conductive. Well, it's been 6 years since I started doing that, and so far everything I've done has stayed. Track and all. I don't clean track unless I'm actually working on track somewhere. My track is cleaned once, coated, and it's good to go. And I use tons of brass track too. I like brass track because it is more conductive than nickel silver. And since I coat my track with Oxguard, it doesn't matter to me if it's brass. If I need a section and it's brass, I paint my track. I paint the ties. Basically, I do it by hand, and so it's not that obvious that tons of my track is brass. You got to be looking pretty close. And when we've been doing operating sessions, I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, look, it's brass track." That has not been a problem. This coating on these wheels does a couple things. One, no corrosion. Two, it's got kind of a textured surface, so when you can actually see the wheels inside the trucks, they look pretty good. They look really good. Now, this is not conductive graphite. If it was, I mean, in theory, you could paint the wheels. I don't do that because that, not that it matters if that conductive graphite gets on the rails, it's not a problem. But I like to polish my wheels and use Oxguard because it is for sure conductive. The conductive graphite is called slip plate, and I used to get it at the farm store. They haven't had it for a while. Instead, they've got, I think this is called Easy Slide graphite. And I got a quart of it, which is going to last me a lifetime because I'm only using it in this little jar that much at a time. So I got a lot of graphite. And see, this doesn't take that long. We're doing a ton of wheel sets here. And we're basically just taking care of business. Once I have these clean and polished and everything, I'm going to check each and every one, make sure they are engaged. And if they're not engaged, I'm going to pull that. You can pull the wheels out of this gear here. And I just put a little bit of white glue in there because mating steel to, this is probably nylon or Delrin plastic, with white glue does the job. If I've ever had to take it apart, it just comes apart, no problem. Stays when I need it to stay, comes apart when I want it to come apart. I do not super glue them. That is not a good idea. Some people do that. I do not do that. Just pretty much every locomotive I have from many years ago, I'm going through and rebuilding them all. And thank God I didn't use super glue in them. I am noticing too that there are two actually different models of wheels in here. There's one that's got a flat face, and there's the other one that looks very much like the old usual ones that fit into the sockets of the metal side frames. But either way, they're centered metal. You can definitely polish that. And it isn't hard. I use it's like a $30 3-inch grinder from Harbor Freight, and it has this fibrous buffing wheel on it which wears out super fast, but it totally polishes these wheels perfect. Some people say, well, you're going to change the profile of the wheel. I've never changed the profile of the wheel. Never had that happen. I've got some old U25Cs that may need to go on the lathe and get turned down just a little bit. It can definitely be a problem. They've got giant pizza cutters on them. You've never seen pizza cutters like those. Alright. So, the trucks are soaking in the Evaporust. The wheels got their graphite coating on them. And tomorrow we're going to polish these. And we are going to make sure those phosphor bronze bushings are nicely polished. And then we're going to coat them with Oxguard so that they stay conductive. Alright, I will see you later.